Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
Today, we're going to talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a video game about parkour, a book about a kid that likes VR, and we have a totally awesome guest. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Rianna Milne.
Hey!
Hello, and Rianna is a child trauma counselor and is listed as one of the most successful women around the world 2021.
Hey, Tiberius, how are you? So glad to be here with you.
I'm good. And today, we're going to start off with the video game of the week. And this is going to be an obby. Jump.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
Now it's time for the video game of the week. Today's video game is Bleep's Difficulty Chart Obby. So this game was made by Bubble Studios. Because it's on Roblox, you are able to play it on PC, Mac, Xbox, and even your cell phone. And it is free.
Free is good.
It is. And this is an obby game, really. So you start with some sort of tutorial. This shows you conveyors, ladders, trusses, elevators, ice patches, and even how to jump. Now that you've finished the beginner test, and now it's time for the real thing. So you go to the first level and do it. An obby is a type of parkour, and really you are doing the jumps and trying to beat it. So each time you advance to the colors, it shows you that you are going into a harder and harder one. Well, you can go back to the previous levels and do it with your friends if they just started. So you can also skip a stage, but that costs Robux. It's really not that great, and the idea of teasing me to pay real money to beat a level kind of felt like everyone was cheating.
Yeah. I mean, video games are hard. I don't know how you guys do them.
Yeah. Well, I give Bleep's Difficult Chart Obby 4 out of 10 stars, and I even got my dad to play it. I think anyone who likes dying over and over again because it's too hard should play this game.
All right. Maybe I'll give it a go. I've got a few grandsons, like 5 of them. Maybe they'll show me.
Mid-State Fire has been providing top-quality fire equipment services for 3 generations to the Central Florida area. Don't wait for an emergency to repair. Call Mid-State Fire today at 407-246-8855. Get your fire extinguishers and emergency lighting for both your home and businesses by visiting www.midstatefire.com. That number again is 407-246-8855.
And now it's time for the Boogie of the Week, The Last Gate of the Emperor. This book is written by Trauma Mobilia and Prince Joel McCracken. Let me read the back of the book. In fact, Rianna, would you like to do the honors?
Yeah, there's some tough names here, Tiberius. I might need you to help me. Okay, we've got Yared Huwat, lives an isolated life in Addis Prime, a hardscrabble city without much to do. His worrywart Uncle Morty and bionic lioness Bessa are his only family. But Yared is also a star player in the underground augmented reality game The Hut for Kalib Oblesk. When a change in the game rules prompts him to log in with his real name, however, it triggers an attack that rocks the city. In the chaos, Uncle Monty disappears.
Well, this is an AR book that covers 5 whole points. It's rated for 6th grade and 7th month. This is a book about Yared, a 12-year-old kid that can take care of himself. He's kind of lonely, but he has his uncle and robotic pet made out of aluminum. He is one of the top players of the illegal scavenger game and has a rival named Ibis. Well, a giant robot messes up the game. This looks like the robot from his uncle's stories.
Aha! Did you finish reading it?
I did. And now he has to work with his rival to save the city and solve the mystery. Now his uncle is gone and he has to rely on other people for help. Yara learns the value of both family and friends in the science fiction thriller.
Sounds
Now,
exciting.
Should I tell you more?
Sure.
How about no? Because I want you to read the book.
There you go.
Well,
All right.
I give Associative the Emperor 9 out of 10 stars because I really liked how the rivals had to work together and became friends.
I like that. Nice moral to the story. They're always good.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And now it's time for an interview of an interesting person. Today's guest is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Rianna Milne!
Yay! Hey, Tiberius.
Well, Rianna is a childhood and love trauma counselor and was on the cover of Forbes magazine. Yes, that is one of those business magazines.
True. That is true. Yeah.
So first off, how were you enjoying being on the show?
Well, I love it. I love that you are doing this, that you are putting the voice out there. You're a great role model for young people to do what is fun and is your dreams. And I'm really excited to be here. I'm proud of you, Tiberius. I work with a lot of kids your age in school, so it's nice to see you do this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are a childhood trauma counselor that also helps with love. Can you explain to my listeners what that means?
Yeah. So I help people understand what childhood trauma they may have gone through and how it's impacting them today as an adult in their life, in love relationships, and in business success. So being that I worked in the schools as a trauma counselor from grades kindergarten all the way through grades college, I have a lot of experience working with kids that came from kind of sad situations. And sometimes, that's what we would call trauma. For example, I worked with a lot of kids that were bullied in the schools, right? I don't know if you've ever been bullied, but the listeners might have, and that's really hard, So stuff like that, it stays with you even as an adult. And it makes you doubt yourself and make you feel not so good about things. So I help heal that, the past childhood trauma that they might have endured.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a child, and I go to school, but some may say counts as trauma. Does that mean you can help me to get girls to like me?
Oh, yeah. I got all kinds of strategies, but you don't need any help, Tiberius. Look at you. You're cute as a button. And you got a good personality. That's important. But the most important thing you could do is be kind. When you're kind and you help people out, people will always love you. So that's the most important thing. And yeah, I work with kids that were, either acting up at school or ADHD, oppositional defiant, just struggling at home. Their parents might be going through a divorce and they're sad at school. So I help them through all kinds of problems. And that's the type of counselor I was in the schools. Yeah.
So how did you get started being a counselor? Did you just watch Counselor Troy from Star Trek and then listen to people and give them advice?
Well, no, I didn't know the guy from Star Trek. I did like Leonard Nimoy, though. He was a good writer. But I wanted a counselor when I was a teenager. And remember that bullying thing? I was bullied. And I wanted to go talk to a counselor. My mom wouldn't let me. So then I said very defiantly, then I will grow up and become one. And I did. I just remember what it's like to go through some hard times, and we all do, whether we're real young and small or teenagers getting really worried about going off to college and what career will they choose. So throughout life, it's great to know that you can go and talk to someone. Mm-hmm. So I always felt that I wanted a counselor, so I became one, and then I became a licensed coach as well. So a coach is more instructional, like we give skills and tell them exactly how to do things based on research, where a counselor is more of a listener.
So how long have you been doing this?
Oh, well, 22 years now. Sometime half in New Jersey, and then I'm in Florida now. and I became a coach 11 years ago. So a counselor for 22 and a coach for 11.
Well, where in Florida? Like Orlando? Close to
No,
it?
I live in Boynton Beach, which is Palm Beach County area. It's
Ah.
by the ocean.
Close to where?
Where do you live?
Oh, Orlando.
Oh, you do?
So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's fun. It's fun here.
Yeah, it is. My daughter lives there
Oh,
with a couple of my grandsons. I'm up there a lot.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
how did you know that this was the go-to job for you?
Well, I also experienced another sadness. I was 16 and my best friend was killed by a drunk driver. So when I wanted to go to the counselor and I wasn't able to, it made me think really serious, like how much time do I have left in my life and what do I want to become? And then it just confirmed I really wanted to become a counselor. And that's when I started reading a lot of books to help me heal. So I read a lot of the business gurus and mentors and coaches like Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer and the Dalai Lama. So I was reading a lot of spiritual books for my healing. And it just made me feel so good, And then when I was in my 20s, I became a model and talent agent. So I used to represent talent of all ages. My youngest guy was 5 and my oldest was 83. And I helped them reach their dreams. And that's called using the mindset for success. So I loved helping people reach their dreams and be happy. So yeah, I love what I do.
So how does counseling make the world a better place?
Well, because a lot of people are going through hard times. Look at what COVID did to all of us, right? That was a hard time for everybody. Yeah, in the schools and even the teachers and for our parents. So everybody was struggling then, and that was a time that I was really busy, of course, helping a lot of people stay calm and not so anxious and figure out what they can do versus feeling like a victim of what they can't do. It's important you be proactive and think outside of the box and find some things that you can do, even if it's a bad situation.
Now, you also wrote your own book and do speaking engagements. Can you tell me more about that?
I've actually written 7 books. So I'm working on my 8th. And my ones for coaching is called Love Beyond Your Dreams. And that went to a #1 bestseller on Amazon. And the book about success and mindset for success, I actually wrote while I was in my elementary school as a counselor and wrote it over the summer. And I wrote it for ages, like for my 5th and 6th graders to read, and they were coming in and reading some of the chapters and they really enjoyed it because they wanted to, some guidance on how to think more about their future. So the mindset for success, that Live Beyond Your Dreams, was written for like age 14 and up. Yeah.
So do you work with kids as well as adults?
Yeah. Well, I worked, like I said, in every grade level at the schools. I worked in a mental health ward for kids ages 5 through 19. And I worked in a drug and alcohol rehab center for teenagers and also women from the prison system, plus my own clients for 22 years. So I have a large variety of people going through some really hard times, but it's great when you can help turn a life around.
Well, does it take a lot of formal training to be able to become a childhood trauma counselor?
Yeah, it takes a lot. So I went for my bachelor degree at Penn State in communications, and then I went on to get my degree, a triple master's in psychology. And then I went to go for a CCTP, Certified Clinical Trauma Professional, and certified as mindset coach, and certified as a life coach for single people and for couples. So yeah, I just keep growing and learning, but that's such an important lesson to learn, Tiberius. Like always keep growing, always keep learning and bettering your skills, because that keeps life exciting. You don't get bored.
Yeah, you're true.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. But can you tell me advice to avoid as a child that will help me develop my skills for my business in the future?
Yeah, well, you're already doing it. You're taking these great risks and putting yourself out there and talking to people. That builds your confidence and self-esteem. When I had a talent show in my elementary school, the kids were singing and dancing and also talking. That really built their confidence. And that's what's really important, Tiberius. You get used to talking with adults, you're really going to be very confident in business. So just keep growing and learning, maybe going to conferences, around podcasting. So you get to meet adults in person. And just keep doing what you're doing, kiddo. You're doing great.
Thanks. Well, what is the best part about working as a counselor?
People just feel happier. They want someone to talk to. They want to know more skills to get them out of either anxiety or depression, or help them on their next move in business. I do a lot of business coaching. So it's just great to see them take that leap of faith and grow and learn and become the best version of themselves.
Mm-hmm. So what is the one thing that when you started to work as a counselor that you did not expect?
I didn't expect all the paperwork from the insurance companies. That's not fun. Or for them not to give us a raise. They gave us only a $5 raise in 17 years. And that's when I went to coaching full time.
Wow.
Because, a lot of the doctors and professional people like myself are like, insurance companies aren't fair, So we kind of got upset with that, and I went and did my own thing with coaching.
So now, what can I do to build better friendships with my classmates?
I know you're a spiritual young man. The verse from the Bible is do unto others as others would do unto you. We call that the golden rule, right? So that's what I would teach my kids in the elementary school. Like, just keep being a friend. If someone's mad or bullying you, that usually means they might have a problem at home. So my kids learned to say to someone, do you want to go down and talk to Miss Rianna today? Because they knew if they were angry, there was something going on. It wasn't about them. So they learned to be a good friend. They learned to be a support. They learned to help out other kids. As a matter of fact, I did an anti-bullying program called Stand Up for Friendship, where each person had a bully busting buddy. So if someone was bullying them, the friend would step in and say, hey, let's keep the peace. What's the issue? Let's talk about it. And they learned to settle arguments amongst themselves. And all the bullying went away in my school. It was really cool.
I think I need that in my school.
Yeah, everybody needs it, for real. And the sad thing was, when the schools started losing their funding, they let go of counselors like me. So I always say we should be the first to be hired to keep the kids happy, right? Because if you're happy, you can learn more. When kids are upset, their focus goes down, right? So it's really important they're calm. We used to do meditation in the school and music therapy. I used to have behavioral charts all over. If they had a good day, they could put stars on their chart, and that would encourage them to keep doing well. So, and then they learned what we call the art of negotiation. If there's two problems, we'd sit down and say, what's your side of the story and what's your side of the story, and how can we work this out for everyone? So it's really important that every school has an anti-bullying program in place.
Yeah. So what is the hardest part about being a counselor?
Sometimes I work a lot of hours, like 12, 14-hour days sometimes. But then I make sure I schedule in my fun. Before COVID, I used to travel a lot to beautiful foreign lands like Paris and Barcelona, Europe, all kinds of really cool places. So I work in my fun. So I was kind of working hard, playing hard. So you just have to make sure you strike that balance.
Mm-hmm. But what is the one thing that you think that would make your job easier?
Probably having some more assistance. I recently hired on a few people. Really, for 21 years, I ran my business all by myself. So it's quite amazing. It took me, but I'm getting so busy because now I work with people around the world. I'm a global coach, which is really awesome. Like, I have someone in Sweden right now, and someone in Lebanon, and someone in Greece. So because I'm getting bigger in business, I need more help. So I recently hired on some people. It's like, it's time, 22 years later.
So what advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to go up and be a childhood trauma counselor?
I would say, if you love helping people, if you've ever been through a hard time and you feel like giving back to those that have had a hard time, like, I understand when people come to me and they say, I hate being bullied. I'm like, I get it. I hated it too. So when you have compassion from your heart, you want to help make the world a better place. That's what us counselors get into the business for. And then we learn the skills to really turn people's lives around and help them reach their dreams. And that's amazing. Like, I had a guy a little bit younger than you, Tiberius, a 5-year-old that wanted to be in movies, right, out in Hollywood. And I was in Erie, Pennsylvania, where my talent school and agency was. And he went out there and he won 8 awards. And he must have gotten 15 offers. And that was his dream, So, but all he needed to learn was the skills that I could teach him to be in the business, right? So I always encourage everyone at every age, what is your dreams? And step up and do it. And I love that you're doing that right now. That's awesome.
So what is the one tool that you use most in doing your job?
Well, I did a lot of research on trauma. And I wrote, like I said, a lot of books, right? So I wrote notebooks for singles, I wrote notebooks for couples, and they are monumental and life transformative. So they're about 150 pages, and they're all from research. So my client does the workbook sheets, and then I read them, and whatever he tells me or she tells me, I know how to help him best. So it's a team effort where they're learning a lot of new skills. And my research has really paid off. Like, it's helping so many people around the world. So I'm really grateful that my books and my words and my research are helping so many.
Mm-hmm. So when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you always know that you were going to be in the counseling industry?
Pretty much so, but I also wanted to do TV and radio. So I've had 5 radio shows. I had a couple of TV shows. I grew up to be a talent agent. Then my own daughter was on television. She was on E! Entertainment News, and she sings on 3 multi-platinum CDs, and she really excelled in the entertainment business. So I was able to take that knowledge and help her out. And I did model for 33 years. So I do like the entertainment business. That's really pretty fun. And I'm doing podcasting too now. So I always use the broadcasting, and I always wanted to be a counselor. So it was one of those two, and I'm doing both of them.
Wow. So, what is that one message that you want to get out to the kids all over the world about working in this field?
What's the one thing?
One message.
Let's see. If you want to do it, make sure you're picking a certain area that you're passionate about. You don't want to just be a general counselor. So I am a trauma recovery counselor, right? It's a specialized field. So you want to do something in any business that makes you stand out, be a little bit different, and then become the best in your field.
What is the craziest thing that has happened while you were doing your passion?
I don't know. I can tell you one, well, I don't know. That's, I don't know if there's anything really crazy I can think of. I've had some really cool things that happened to me in my life. I mean, as a young girl at age 15, I worked for a radio station, a big one in Philadelphia. It was called WFIL Radio. And I was what they call a boss chick. So I was a promotional model. And one of my best jobs, I worked with a lot of entertainers that were very big at that time. But one of my favorite things was I danced the entire encore on stage, like the 4 songs they play at the end, with Freddie Mercury, who is, the lead singer of Queen. So that was a really cool job. And then I had to pick Alice Cooper up from the airport. And I was friends with the music group, the Tramps, so wow. As a kid, that was fun and that was cool and that was exciting for me. Yeah.
So you run a podcast like me, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me what it's all about?
Yep. It's called Lessons in Life and Love with Coach Riana Milne. So it is, I have 110 shows out, but on my YouTube channel, I have like 250 audios and videos, which is just Rianna Milne.
Holy cow.
And it's educational. So I'm helping people who are struggling in life, in love, in business, parent-child relationships. If they're struggling, I help teenagers a lot. I work now, since I'm working through the computer, with kids 16 and up. So a lot of those kids are like really scared about going off to college, leaving home, worried about what kind of career will I have in COVID world, so I'm helping a lot of younger people in high school. And then when they go off to college, I can still be their coach because I can coach anywhere.
So how can my listeners find and hear your podcast?
My podcast is everywhere. All the podcast platforms. It's also its own website, lessonsinlifeandlove.com.
Nice.
And yes, on my YouTube channel.
Well, cool. So I run a radio show and podcast that talks about God during my Lion Strong segment. So how do you include God's message in your work?
Spirituality and faith is super important for healing trauma. Many of my clients don't believe, okay, or they might have had a bad experience at church. So I have to teach them that God is also within them, right? And it's really important that they learn to have faith and trust that they can be whoever they dream to be. And part of that is having faith in your life. So I'm also actually Reverend Rianna. I'm also a minister. So that I became a minister in 1996, and I officiate a lot of weddings, a ton of weddings in Atlantic City, New Jersey, some in Florida. But I was always very spiritual because, like I said, I started reading spiritual books for my healing, and I knew how much it helped me. So it's very much a part of my client's healing journey.
Okay. So what was the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
I married too young. When we were growing up, our generation married right out of college. I was only 21 years old. Then by 24, I had, 2 daughters. So that's really young. And I advise my girls, look, in your 20s, it's your most important area of growth. So do you work on your career, move if you want for your career, take whatever education you want for your career. And both of them really, really excelled in their careers in their 20s. And then they married in their late 20s. And like I said, now I have 6 grandkids. So they've got great husbands. They waited till they were older and more mature. And I wish I would have waited.
Wow. So what was your favorite book to read?
I have a lot of them. I've got tons of books on my bookshelves. I do like anything spiritual because that makes me feel really good and it keeps me really balanced when I'm helping people go through hard times. I do like anything from Ernest Holmes, which is a spiritual writer. I like anything about psychology, Tony Robbins stuff, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson. These are all spiritual, motivational leaders. So anything like that, I like to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
No, but I want them to know if they ever feel that they need help, that not to suffer alone and not say anything. Make sure they reach out to an adult they love and trust. It could be an aunt or a grandma or, even their school teacher or a counselor. Just get yourself some help, don't suffer alone. That's really important. And I want you to know to go for your dreams too. When my 5-year-old daughter, Alexi, said to me, Mom, I want to put water wells in Africa. And I said, baby, I believe it. One day you will. At 20, she started doing that because on singing tour with her CD, she ends up in Africa. Now she has 21 water wells in Tanzania, Africa. And she started that project at 20.
Wow.
So I just want to tell all your kids out there, go for your dreams. Don't be afraid of it.
Okay. Well, do you have a website or Facebook for my listeners who want to follow you?
Yeah, it's my name, RiannaMilne.com. And on there is, all my Facebook is Coach Rianna Milne, and all my little social media buttons are there at RiannaMilne.com. And there's articles there for your parents. If you know your parents are suffering a little bit, like if you think mom's a little depressed or sad, or you see mom and dad fighting, you can speak up and say, Mom and Dad, I hope you get some help. I heard this lady, Coach Riana Milne, on Tiberius's show, and she helps couples like you. It's okay if there's disagreements, but you want to get help for that. Mm-hmm. So many kids are afraid to say something, and then that's when, they're upset at school. So it's important that if you're upset, to say something to mom or dad, and to tell them to go get some help too.
Mm-hmm. So what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
I think you did a pretty good job, kiddo.
Thanks. Well, thank you, Rianna, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Sure.
Sweet.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Well, thank you, Rianna, for helping me with Math Corners.
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know how good I'll do. I haven't been in school for a while.
So today we're going to talk about the associative property of addition and multiplication.
I did multiplication.
Do you know addition?
Yes.
So we have been talking a lot about algebra lately, and today we're going to talk about the different properties in math. Well, the associative property of addition says that when 3 or more numbers are added, the sum is the same regardless of the way in which the numbers are grouped.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, this means that if 6 plus parentheses x plus 3 close parentheses would also equal parentheses 6 plus x close parentheses plus 3.
Correct.
Yes. So, notice a little bit more. Now, you have to have the associative property of multiplication. Now, that says when 3 or more numbers are multiplied, the product is the same regardless of the way in which the numbers are grouped. So that means if x times parentheses 6 times 3 close parentheses will also equal parentheses x times 6 close parentheses times 3.
Sounds right.
It is. Well, this property is very important in algebra since it will be used to move around variables in an equation when dealing with factoring. So Rianna, do you now know all about the associative property?
Do I know all about it? Well, you reminded me what it was.
Well, my teacher says that I would use math every day. Do you have to use math as a counselor?
Well, do you believe it? I had to take 4 college classes, 4 terms of statistics, and one math problem would take about 6 pages to complete.
No.
And I've never used it once. And the only reason I use math is to pick up my calculator and add up my checks. That's it. Yay!
Well, why not do it in your
math was
head?
not my favorite subject.
Well, thank you so much, Rianna, for your help with Math Corners.
See Tiberius Smith Law.com.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
Wait, you are not Chuck.
My dad can help when people get hurt. He loves to help people.
If you are ever injured at work or in a car accident, you should call my friend Chuck.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
The website again is cwsmithlaw.com.
Offices, Orlando.
Does it actually have that much W's?
And now it's time for the Heart of the Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of a Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about obedience. For me, I think obedience is being fully committed to doing what is pleasing to God. The qualities of obedience is compliance with a good attitude and respect for the laws. You know when someone is obedient when they follow instructions willingly and truly. So as most know, this is not my favorite virtue. But this week my mom was out of town. My dad got to have the joys of taking me to school. Oops! Well, that means I always have to take a completely different set of wake routine rules that I do not like. Well, my dad puts all of my tasks on a whiteboard and I have to check them off as I complete them. Not fun. So, you know, stuff like comb your hair, brush your teeth, and make your lunch, and even get my book bag and binder in order. But everything was listed. Now, after I'm done with all of it, yes, even my shoes and my socks, then I have to get my dad to check the board and sign it off. And then, and only then, do I get 10 minutes on my computer before if I have finished the task before we have to leave for school.
How's that going for you? Did that work out okay?
Yeah.
Good.
On Tuesday, I got at least 10. Today, I got 20. 'Cause I'm fast.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job. We used to call that star chart. I did star chart with my kids, and then they get a reward if they made so many stars by the end of the month. And we do something special together.
Wow. So far, it was not as bad as I thought it would be, though. Yeah, I woke up to some amazing amount of a bugle horn playing some crazy song. And chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with my homie. Yeah, but I got all of my stuff done and it was ready for school way before it was time. I had even had time to horseplay with my dad.
Awesome.
So I practiced obedience and even ended up with more time for fun stuff.
Yeah, when you're organized, that's how it happens.
So Rianna, did you see or use obedience at all this week?
Well, I always have to be obedient with myself. So I'm on time for my clients and meeting all the things on my schedule. So that's important. And as far as my clients, I have my new assistant, and she's been very obedient. And she follows through and gets things done for me. And it's been so helpful. So she's really helping me to get more done and keeping me organized. So that's been great.
Well, of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is your favorite?
I really like integrity, Tiberius. Integrity I define as doing the right things when nobody's looking.
That's exactly how I say it.
Yes. Yes. And when my clients have integrity, you feel really good about who you are as a person. Right? And when you feel good about yourself, then your confidence goes up and your self-esteem. So even for coupled relationships, parents, right, when they're each doing the right things when nobody's looking and they're working as a team, their marriage is happier. Same thing for kids. If you're doing the right things, you're not going to get in trouble. So it's a good one for young and old alike.
Well, we should always try and be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yes, for sure.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of our dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom Braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering, to trophies and awards. They can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Rianna Milne
Hey!
for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking with you today. I think we learned about counseling and why it is important to the world.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me on the show. It's great working with you. And like I said, I'm so impressed with what you're doing. Just keep up the good work.
Well, you're welcome. And also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram on The Tiberius Show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and subscribe. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius.